So
you're saying you got a couple fucking days off of work now?
Yeah, my schedule is very, to the working man, it would seem very pitiful. To me, it's achievable. I work 4 days and I'm off 3 days, and most of those days I only work 5 hours.
Okay, so you're working 20-hour weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is what I call sustainable.
That is sustainable while I'm living at a place that I don't pay for, or the food,
Yes.
or stuff.
100%. 100%. Dude, do you think do you think it'll ever get to the point where you have to start paying rent?
No,
Some parents do that shit, man. And I think it's kind of cold, but I kind of get it too.
I think it's a good way to teach your kids the value of money. But I think with me, I've always been a very like kind of penny pincher dude. Like, I've never been very frivolous with my money. So my parents know that they don't have to teach me something like that.
Yeah, you've always been frugal.
Yeah, I've never bought like much of anything that I don't need. And
Ugh, I am not the same.
well, it all went to my brother. my dad always said
okay.
My dad always said that if you put my brother in a store, blindfolded him, spun him around 3 times and let him go, he'd always find the most expensive thing in the shop.
Dude, I was the exact same way growing up, and I will fully admit that I was really fucking spoiled as a kid.
Well,
I'll be the first one to admit it. I was lucky enough to be spoiled. I recognize that it's lucky,
Yeah.
But like, I got like there was a few years, like maybe 3 or 4 years in a row, that for Christmas I got a new guitar every year, and it's just because I wanted it. I didn't need a new fucking guitar.
Well, sure, like, I'm fine with it. I don't really need a lot of things to make me happy or to satisfy me, but we also need to live, I also need to get, sure. I've been thinking about using my stimulus on a new acoustic guitar, because I really like how mine is, but I feel like it's too big for me. Like,
What do you have?
Huh?
What guitar do you have?
Oh God, I don't know. I never know anything about gear or any of that stuff.
It's not like a recognizable brand.
No, I think it's just it might be some off-brand that I got at some little tiny guitar store that was about 2 rooms big,
Which are my favorite.
But it's a great sound. Like, I love how it sounds. It's like my favorite guitar for that. But the body is so big, and it feels like it's always a struggle just to play the dang thing,
Yeah.
And so I just want something smaller and just sounds worse, but is easy to play, so I can finally start my folk punk band.
Oh, you're thinking of doing a little fucking Against Me / what was that band that was like so much like Against Me? And of course I'm never gonna remember the names now, so I'm not even gonna try.
It may be like Thrice, or
no, I wouldn't call Thrice folk punk.
No, Dropkick Murphys, maybe Flogging
yeah.
Molly.
Yeah, those two count. Mine is just like it was a band that I don't know if they're really well known at all, but the singer's voice reminded me so much of Lauren Jane Grace's voice that I always kind of chalked it up to like they're really similar to Against Me, but I'll never fucking remember their name.
Days and Days. That's my last shot in the dark.
Nope.
All right. Well,
no, I'm looking up related bands to Against Me right now, and it's not even on here.
Well, I've always wanted to. I have a whole list. I have a whole laundry list of bands that I've wanted to start. Right, in all different genres and types. And folk punk has always been on there. And it started with Will from Burn Ban, and he's on the big old like tub keg bass.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Someone's got a little swishy thing.
Washboards.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about doing fucking backwater punk.
Oh, I'm talking about doing that kind of huck punk, dude.
Huck punk. I love it. Punkleberry Finn.
But no, we have a couple bands that we play with. And I hate that I can't remember their names. It's like Stillhouse Growlers, I think is one of them. And, Days and Days is another that I'll pop by every once in a while. And
Days and Days are like really popular in that little scene, man.
oh yeah, they're legends, man. And
like never heard of them. And then I saw a video of them playing at Kick Butt. And like everyone was singing along to like one of their songs. I guess they have a really popular song.
Yeah.
But I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, they just completely like never heard of them. And it seems to be that they are huge in a world that I don't know about.
Dude, they're so big that there's a video of us, Burn Band, playing with them, playing one of their songs. And the video has 10,000 views on it.
God damn,
when
dude.
An average Burn Band video comes out to about 3 or 4.
If Mortalis had any videos, it'd be the same. Like, are they local?
I believe they're from San Marcos.
Okay.
So local enough, but they get around.
Yeah.
They're one of those bands that I think they just like kind of travel along in a van and just go all over the place.
They're real sluts. They get around.
Real, yeah.
Real music sluts.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, yeah, dude, there's a lot of bands that I wish I've always wanted to be in. Like, I've always wanted to be in a metalcore band, a punk band, like a real punk band, not ska punk, like legit punk band.
Ska punk is real punk. What are you talking about?
Well, on that note, also a real ska band. I was not in either. We were a ska band without horns. Pretty much all of high school. I know, it was a missed opportunity, but we made up with having keyboard, so we'd play like horn lines on the keyboard.
Okay.
And but yeah, man, we were never like really legit third wave ska. Like, I wanted to be Real Big Fish. I wanted to be Bad Religion, and fucking listening to the album that we're gonna be talking about today made me realize that was what I wanted. This is the quintessential like music that I really wanted to play after I heard this record. And like, it really took me back to high school, and how much like this record like blew my mind. Really? So on that note, what's up, buddies? And welcome to another episode of Earbuds, where two very good buds talk about a very good album for a very good amount of time.
I like that you've taken that on.
I loved it. We talk about what we like, what we didn't like, and honestly, very good albums is subjective. Sometimes we both don't like what we're talking about.
Very rarely, I'd say.
We are the odd couple of podcasts, or what everyone else likes to call us, the pod couple of oddcasts. We are me, Lucas Intercobs, and you, Brett, the Locust Hanrahan.
The Locust?
Yeah, you're the Locust.
I'm a plague now?
Well, it just, yeah.
Okay.
I got no defense for it.
I mean,
I wasn't prepared.
I wouldn't be lying if I didn't say I didn't feel like a type of plague today. I feel like I could go and stir some trouble,
And I don't know if you're going to start some trouble on this episode, because we're going to be talking about an album called The Artist in the Ambulance by one of my favorite bands, probably top 10 favorite bands, Thrice.
Man, just learning new stuff about you every day, man. I had very sparsely heard of this band, and just discovering that they're one of your favorites. You put them, we have a little list of albums we want to get to, and you put, I think, 2 of their albums on there.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I think I put this one and Viesu, maybe.
And I think that might be the only band. There might be 1 or 2 others, but like, it might be the only band where you put 2 albums from the same band.
Yeah, for sure. I think I put another King Gizzard album on there, like my favorite one by them, because I really
Polygon Wonderland.
Oh yeah. That's a good one. I probably shouldn't be drinking fucking sparkling water. I'm going to be burping this whole episode, but whatever. But yeah, man, this record and this band, they've changed so much throughout the years too. That kind of is what keeps them so fresh for me. Because their first 2 records before this one were very much just like hardcore punk kind of mixed with pop punk. more than anything else. And I never got into them. I knew of them before this record came out. And so when I saw when this record came out, I think I was 2003. So I was a sophomore maybe in high school, or maybe a junior. And I was like, whatever, Thrice. I never really liked them. I had buddies who were really into the first two records, and I just couldn't get into it. I wasn't into music that was like that loud at that point. Mm-hmm. And then this one came out, and it just, it like combined punk with like metalcore that I thought was one of the coolest like combinations I've heard in a while. And I think like it's really hard to classify this record because like people call it post-hardcore, people call it melodic hardcore, but then people also say that there's emo and pop punk and hardcore punk and thrash, all of that mixed in together, and sometimes even in the same song.
Well, yeah, the truth of the matter is it's kind of all those things and in various amounts, you know?
Right, yeah. And they have evolved since then to be more of, I would say, an alternative rock band.
Really?
Yeah. I would say they've gotten a little more artistry in their music, a little more like this album I just think is like so brutal that it's going from that to like what they just released, in the last couple of years. I think like Blood in the Sand, I think, is one of the albums. They went to more of an artsy art metal, alternative sound, but this is like the Thrice that I love, this record.
And was the one after this kind of a little more similar, or did they?
Yeah, I would say like, so let me go into their discography here. The Artist in the Ambulance, and then after that they came out with Viesu, which I think was like kind of more of the same, but they started getting more into their artsy stuff where they were allowing themselves to be, it's still really heavy, but they were allowing themselves to have some like breath, a little more space in their music.
Right.
Their songs just became longer also. Like they weren't as like 3.5 minute, just fucking like just nonstop for 3.5 minutes. Like they started going to 4 minutes and 5 minutes and kind of like, stretching it out. And as they went on, like they one of the cooler things that they released throughout their whole career was called the Alchemy Index. And so it was 4 volumes. It was essentially 4 EPs.
Oh, okay.
And it was, the first 2 were Fire and Water, and the second 2 were Air and Earth. So Fire,
they just watched Avatar: The Last Airbender.
They watched that and Korra, the whatever that one was called, and
Korra, the other Last Airbender.
Yeah, what's that one called? Korra.
It's just The Legend of Korra.
The Legend of Korra. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to fucking get into that one. I'm like in the second season of The Last Airbender, and it's so dope.
Oh, dude. A lot of people are. It's very controversial, The Legend of Korra. I'll say that.
Really? I thought it seemed like universally liked.
From what I've seen, people love it or they despise it, and there's little to no in between.
Is it the same writers? It's all the same people, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think the only difference was they didn't know how many seasons they were going to get. So they did season 1, and at the end of season 1, they're like, okay, we're going to give you a season 2. They're like, okay. And then and it just went on like that for, I think, 4 seasons.
So they were, every season kind of wrapped up the story, and then they came back with like new shit.
Yeah, it was a lot more, it was a lot, I guess, not smaller, but the entirety of The Last Airbender is kind of this one storyline with this one main villain, and all the seasons lead up to that, while Korra is a little more not episodic, but just
it was like each season stand alone.
Yeah,
as its own story.
Things will progress, and there will be developments throughout the seasons. But there's it's like a new villain every season. It's like a new concept every season, which is, some people love, some people hate.
Yeah, I could see both sides of it. I think I would like that. I'm excited to get through Airbender and go to Legends of Korra, because I think I'm gonna like that.
Yeah, dude, friggin' watch it and tell me what you think.
Never thought I would like it at all. I didn't. I
Really?
totally dismissed the show until me and Christina started
Because it
dating,
was popular.
obviously, and it's anime, so like I've never really been into that, you know. And my cousin, who was like super deep into anime, loved The Last Airbender, and I'm just like, it's probably lame. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't like the idea, and then Christina told me how much that she loved that show, and I was so surprised by that because Christina is not a TV movie person. So I'm like, if you really like this, it must be fucking good. And then we started watching it, and immediately I loved it.
Oh, dude, I think it's objectively one of the best cartoon series ever made.
Yeah, I'm not even done with it, and I agree.
It's very few series rival what they went for and achieved, you know?
Yeah, the character development and the world that they build is just like, it's so good.
It's insane. And I think they were working on another either reboot or movie or something for Avatar, and then the creator split off from that, and now they've made their own studio called Avatar Studios, I think.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm very excited to see what they have rolling out there.
Yeah, that's going to be... I thought there was Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, but that's something totally different, right?
No, that's completely
That's totally different. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But that's kids shit too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's classic.
Like Princess Mononoke?
Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away.
One of the best anime movies of all time.
Have you seen Akira?
You know, for all the anime I've seen, I have not watched Akira.
Dude, that was the first anime anything I've ever seen, and it's so fucking cool.
It was basically like how anime became so popular in America was like that movie in particular.
The animation is insane in that movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's incredible, and it's so trippy.
Yeah, which it surprises me that it caught on to so many Americans, that something so weird right off the bat
It was wild.
was such a favorite for people. But you know, hey, if they like it, I like it.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly The Last Airbender inspired the Alchemy Index by Thrice.
Which we're getting back to.
Which we're getting back to. And what I just wanted to say, because like the first volume is fire and water. I think the concept of all this is really cool because fire is by far the heaviest shit that they've ever written. And it's
really
so nasty and gritty and distorted, and it's like fucking crazy. And then on the same, basically the B side is water, and water is this like all electronic, like fucking really like spacey and quiet and like emotional and really great. And then air and earth is like earth, I think, is all acoustic driven.
Oh.
And just like folky. And air is a little more like kind of, again, like allowing themselves to breathe in these songs and just having these like really kind of spacey, soundscapey stuff. And it's like, since then, like I think the Alchemy Index like steered where they went for the rest of their career, because everything after that was just a combination of all of it. And so they incorporated all the stuff, all the electronic stuff that they did, the heavy shit, and the more kind of like art pop or art rock type of stuff that they were doing, and just kind of put it all together. And since then it's just been good album after good album. They haven't released a bad record.
But that being said, the artist in the ambience, this is the era of Thrice that you personally most enjoy.
I just like, I was drunk listening to this the other night, and I had so many moments. So many times, like, because it's kind of like Dubside and like Resignation. Like, there are so many moments where this album was present in my life, and specific friends that I listened to this record to with a lot. So like tons of memories of driving around in our cars and, jamming out to this. And like, I air drummed a lot in like when I was younger. So this is a huge air drumming record for me. The drums are fucking incredible on this album. So yeah, man, I mean, you know how I fucking feel about this. So, what did you think about this? Like, as you were listening to it?
I really like this record, man. I'm about it. At first, I was a little hesitant because I don't know. This type of music is all kind of thrown into one corner for me. And I don't know, just like the core corner where everything core gets pushed into.
Yep.
But as I listen to the album more, much like all the albums we do here, I try to listen to it, 3, 4, 5 times before we record. The more I listened to it, the more I was able to kind of take certain pieces of these songs and the elements and kind of separate it from everything else and enjoy it for what it was. And I really appreciate the combination of those hardcore elements, those pop punk elements, the punk stuff that comes in. I like the vocalist a lot.
He's awesome, right? Dustin's voice is incredible.
Oh yeah, he does have like one of those like clear Disney Channel voices when he wants to, but his screaming is also top notch. I loved it.
It sounds so real.
Like when I'm kind of listening to the album now, and I just got the Silhouette.
Oh,
and
dude,
that chorus.
That's was such an easy choice nug for me to pick.
Really?
It just like that, man. Silhouette was like one of those that like I wrote in my notes. This riff changed my life. And like even in that like when they start doing that just the little things that the drummer does that like every time I listen to this song I have to do it, like in the beginning where he does that double snare hit, the your eyes, but like I have to drum along to that whole fucking song, man.
This is a very headbang friendly song and very air drum friendly song.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, I mean that's something that I was a little concerned about, especially after talking about At All Cost. Then I'm like, fuck, man, I forgot Brett doesn't really dig metalcore, and I wasn't really thinking about it until I listened to this the other night. That this is kind of a metalcore record, like it leans heavily on that.
I'd say not at all in the way At All Cost is,
for sure.
Like those are two totally different vibes. But
yeah, but it kind of starts the same way, right? I feel like this album just fucking starts. It's so heavy and so melodic, like vocals, right away.
They are sick, and it just goes straight into the music. I love that stuff, man. I love coming in with a bang like that.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, and it definitely wasn't as off-putting as the beginning of At All Cost, as that record was. Circle of Demons. That's a tough intro.
Yeah. But this one is like, honestly, if you don't like heavy music, you're also not going to like the way this album starts. But if you don't like heavy music, you're not going to like this record. Like, I don't think you could go from a pop punk fan to this.
No, I think there's like one or two songs a pop punk fan will like on this record, but
the album, what is it?
The Artist in the Ambulance, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Like that is like the most pop punk intro, right? With the palm muted guitar and the vocals and oh my God.
It made me laugh. It used to be one of my favorites, and it kind of made me laugh a little bit when I was listening to it again. My world goes black before I feel an angel lift me up. Like
I mean, I love it. I love how like pop punk it lets itself be,
Yeah, pop punk is like self-aware, at least.
But yeah,
the energy doesn't really let up the whole record.
No, really, there isn't. There are a couple moments, there are a couple outros that kind of give you a chance to breathe and kind of realign. But aside from that, there aren't really any songs that take their time, I guess.
Yeah, no, right? There's not a lot of fat on the songs, like and what's funny is that those outros I feel like are what a lot of their songs sound like now.
Really?
Yeah, like that's where what I mean, where like the artistry kind of comes in a little bit more, because I feel like this is just such heavy music, and obviously like everyone's doing a killer job, right? Like the guitars are fucking killing it. The bass, I love how the bass is like so fucking front and center on this whole record.
Oh, dude, there's some choice bass parts on this album.
Yeah, dude. Even on like, I would say there's maybe 1 or 2 songs that like I would say are my least favorite, even though I still like them.
Yeah.
And those songs both have like badass bass parts.
Yeah. Ones in particular, Stare at the Sun. When the vocals come in, it's just the bass just doing a freaking
yeah, badass, dude.
And the bridge on Paper Tiger also has a very cool bass part. And I've realized through this album that I think the main thing I don't like about metal music and all its subgenres is how notey the guitars can be sometimes.
Notey?
Yeah, just like, you know?
Yep.
And I've found that a bass part being notey has never gotten on my bad side. Like, I love notey bass parts, but not notey guitar parts for some reason.
Dude, the ska bass is one of my favorite parts of ska. And that's notey as fuck.
For sure.
Yeah. The lead guitarist of this band is such a fucking badass, dude. And he does a lot of the keyboard stuff too. And I feel like he kind of has these things that he like relies on. He has similar guitar parts in a lot of these songs. And he does a lot of these kind of like sweeping, not like guitar sweeps, but these like a lot of slides. Like he'll slide up and he'll use delay and reverb to kind of like create this kind of movement with it just kind of playing a few notes and sliding around on this guitar. But it's just so fucking effective and it adds so much. Like it never takes away from anything else. He's never trying to steal the spotlight, you know, as a lead guitarist.
Which is another thing that kind of gets to me in metal is that such a heavy emphasis on guitar all the time.
Yeah.
Right? But on this album, you could even say it's kind of buried at times.
It's supplemental.
Yeah. And so the guitar parts never annoyed me. And whenever I listened specifically for them, I always found, oh, that's cool. I kind of didn't notice that you were doing that, bud.
Right? It blends in really, really well.
Like there's one song where he's doing a riff that I really liked. God, I can't remember it right now. It was kind of in the middle of the song, a slower part. Was it Blood Clots?
I like his stuff, the stuff that he did on All That's Left. He does this like this kind of like really cool, just like it's simple. It's not like musical masturbation like so much fucking metal is.
Right. Yeah.
And dude, this is a band that I've also seen live like probably more than 5 times. And they tour like a motherfucker and they come to Austin like twice a year.
Really?
It was
nobody
nuts,
likes coming to Austin.
These guys I feel like Austin must be one of their better cities because they come here all the time and they play emos every time. And I think last time I saw them was for their not Palms. It was for one of the later records, and it's just they have such a deep catalog now that it's so fucking fun to listen to this shit, and it's so fun to see them live, and like the energy that they have live they play for almost 2 hours, and no one lets up, dude. The crowd doesn't let up. They don't fucking let up. And I just like I feel like, you know, going back to this record, like, and all the different musicians, like everyone is just so fucking killer on this record. And I was wondering, like, as a drummer, did you love the drums as much as I did on this?
As a drummer, I don't know. I didn't really have any negative thoughts about it, but they also didn't pop out at me too often.
So there weren't a lot of moments where you're like, ooh, like just little fill or something, you know?
There were a couple parts. I believe at the end of Hoods on Peregrine, or he does some cool stuff. He does the like the typical like I don't know what it's called, but it's just
yeah, dude.
You know,
the rolls or whatever. I wrote in all caps, "This fucking drummer." At the end of that song, I was like, dude, he just like, he has those small moments where he gets to shine. And I thought the only saving grace, if you didn't really like this record, was that their use of double bass it's reserved. It's restrained.
Yeah. I wrote in my notes, it's a very, I can always appreciate a tasteful double kick, and I can always appreciate a drummer who doesn't feel like he needs to show off all the time.
For sure.
Like
he's in the pocket.
Any day of the week, I'll prefer a guy who just doesn't do any fills and just stays on beat and does what the song needs than a dude who just won't stop just doing fills and just crashes and all that stuff.
It's like you watch those like drumming videos on YouTube and you're just like, God damn, these guys are incredible. But then at the same time, you're just like, it does kind of wear down on you a little bit. It becomes like taxing to listen to it. And this guy is just killing it the whole song. And it's just like, I remember talking about this on the At All Cost record or episode, that I said that this album is one of those that this guy is so restrained with his double bass, and I wish that he would do more, because it's always my favorite parts.
Well, that's why he does it in those parts, baby.
Yeah, he keeps me wanting more, man. And it's so like he chooses the perfect moments, and it's usually like in a lot of outros. They'll end the song super heavy.
Yeah.
And he'll just fucking do double bass for 10 seconds and then that's it.
And it's strong.
Yeah, for sure.
The way I could just tell he's smacking these drums in the studio, man.
Right,
the way
dude?
This friggin' snare
like
and this kick sounds.
That's what I mean. That intro of Silhouette, dude. That
yeah. That's what I was listening to.
He's just like hitting that fucking crash or that ride or whatever, and just smacking the shit out of the snare.
Oh yeah. Sheesh. Oy vey.
Oy vey. And again, like Dustin's vocals, dude. He's like incredible. Not just his vocals, but his lyrics. Like, this is an album that I've listened to hundreds of times and I never looked up the lyrics.
Really?
So I'm just kind of guessing as I'm going through it, you know? And
sure.
Sitting down with the lyrics, and Genius had some cool annotations too, genius.com, on like what some of this might mean.
Yeah.
But his lyrics are just, he's really talented songwriter.
It's, whenever you look up lyrics for a band that you don't really know, I don't really know how popular these guys are. I was worried that it would just be the lyrics and no annotations whatsoever.
Yeah.
But nearly every song had like a summary of what the song could have been about, and nearly every song had annotations on the lyrics.
Yeah.
Which, goes to show that people care about these guys. And
they have over 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Well, that'll do you.
They're out there, man. They're big. They just don't seem to be mainstream, oddly enough. But they have so much mainstream appeal.
Well, it's, before I listen to this album, I've heard of them, but I've only heard one song, which is on this album, which I'll get to later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, before we get into our choice nugs, there's just like a couple other things I wanted to like kind of call out where like, what's up?
You were just about to get into the lyrics and I totally interrupted you.
Yeah.
So let's dive into those a little more.
Yeah. So like, some of the content, the lyrical content and the themes like caught me by surprise, because again, like I'm just kind of making up my own lyrics sometimes when I'm listening to this. So like going in and seeing what he actually was saying and what he's trying to convey, it's cool. It's like there's a lot of stuff, a lot of zeitgeist, like 2003 era stuff, right? Like, anti-government, anti-war sentiments,
Sure. Yeah.
A lot of talk about like authority figures having too much power, dumbing down the population, controlling us through distraction. That's all that Hoods on Peregrine's about.
Yeah. They're about the media and how we're, getting misinformation.
Yeah. They're feeding us the version of the news that they want us to know. And the people who are really in the know are too far and few and far between, and it's too few people that actually know what's really going on in the world, to where like there's too much power in the hands of too few people. And I think that was like a thread that kind of like weaved itself throughout a lot of these songs. And like, not just that, but like songs about, being vulnerable as an artist, being vulnerable as a man, a lot of stuff about addiction, and not necessarily addiction to drugs or alcohol. It's just kind of addiction to, like we were saying before, like to media, and to feeling like you feel kind of helpless a lot. Right. And like this feeling of like, is this really what life is? Like, is this really what I have to look forward to? And I think that's like another theme that kind of threads throughout all these songs too. And I thought that was really, it made me appreciate this album even more. And it made me really appreciate Dustin Kensrue, the singer and songwriter, like a lot more. Like he's a really, talk about being able to stay on theme with your lyrics, like song by song. He knows what he's trying to get across. And it's like, he doesn't kind of just throw in a line for no reason, which I think is really impressive.
He is the antithesis of you and Drips.
100%.
And the Bronx.
100%, dude. Yeah. And oh my God, what a super group that would be. The Bronx and Thrice. Oh.
Hey, maybe we can get them together. I think they listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I'll send them a note.
Yeah, just send them like a Google invite or something.
Yeah. But also like Under the Killing Moon, which is a great fucking song. It's about the fucking Salem witch trials. I had no goddamn idea that it was about that when I was.
How could you not? He literally says like, let the witches burn. Watch the witches burn.
I thought he was saying engines.
Well, that's pretty cool too.
And watch your red jets burn. That's what I thought he was saying. I didn't know he was saying witches.
Well, in any case, yeah, he does the Salem witch trials. He did the story of what's his face who flew too close to the sun.
Icarus and Daedalus.
Yeah, yeah.
On the melting point of wax. That's a great song.
And I think it's cool that you can give yourself the freedom to just kind of go off and maybe just tell a story, and tell someone else's story.
And he uses a lot of Christian themes, right?
Yeah. I read on here he's like openly Christian, and while reading the lyrics of this album, he seems very like book learned.
Right?
He seems like a very intelligent guy.
He does, and he seems to also be very well versed on the Bible and on religion. I think he pulls out a Bible verse in one of these songs.
Under a Killing Moon would be my bet.
Probably. I know I wrote it down somewhere, but yeah, and it's on that note, like I didn't pick up on that so much on this record and Viesu, but definitely as Thrice continued on in their career, and especially in Dustin's solo stuff, that religious Christianity, devout stuff really comes out a lot more, and it's never preachy, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
He's not trying to get me to join a youth group. He's just kind of
well,
like, this is my belief, and he's just putting it into a song. But, and I know this is probably going to offend some people, but there's always a part of me that when there's an artist or a musician or an actor or someone that I admire, when I find out that they're either addicted to drugs, or they're like alcoholics, or they're assholes, or they're like devout religious, I'm always slightly disappointed.
Dude, how many musicians aren't one of those things?
When I was a kid,
are you kidding me?
Dude, when I was a kid, I had rose-colored glasses, like with everything, dude. So like, like when I found out that Matt Embry, was struggling with like addiction, there was a slight feeling of like, oh, man, like someone I look up to is flawed, and I'm not saying that like religious, like anyone who's devout is flawed. That's not the case, but like I am not religious at all. And to me, there is an aspect of religion that's like kind of nutty a little bit. And so when I find out that when I found out that Dustin was like so devout, there was a slight tinge of like disappointment and like, fuck, man, I need to go back and revisit some of this dude's music to be like, is he fucking indoctrinating me?
Well, you weren't listening to the lyrics anyway, so.
No, I wasn't. But I definitely picked up. I mean, you know, and the man, what's it called? The fucking album song. What
the artist in the ambulance.
The titular, is that what it is? The titular.
Yeah, the titular. The yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that when I first heard that, it was pretty clear that there's a lot of Christian allegory and you know, references to stuff on that song. And to me, I was just like, yeah, he's talking about dying. Like, big surprise. Like, people talk about religion a lot when they're dying.
Yeah.
But then as their career played out, and especially with like I said, with his solo stuff, I'm just like, oh no, this dude's like a for sure devout Catholic or devout Christian. And it was a bit of a bummer when I found that out.
Yeah, but how much of that actually comes through in the music? You know, there's a good amount, and he references it sometimes, but I don't think it's enough to actually turn you off of a song.
No, definitely not. And like I said, he doesn't get preachy. Like I don't think he's trying to like get me to fucking donate money to the church. So I appreciate that much. And it doesn't seem like his religion has, you know, for someone like me who is not anti-religion, but I'm definitely not religious at all, for it not to push me away and like turn me off from the band, that tells you like how well he handles that, and that he doesn't really shove it in your face at all.
Right.
Because there's a lot. I mean, some of the best metalcore is Christian. Some of the best metalcore bands are fucking Christian bands. Out Christians. Like, they are very like outspoken Christians. And, you know, I kind of had to get over that too, because I'm just like, who knew fucking Christians could write such badass fucking metalcore music? But there are some of those bands that are like literally screaming Jesus, you know, during some of their songs.
Well, look, every guy's got a gent for Jesus every once in a while, you know?
I wish there was a compilation called Gents for Jesus.
There must be. If there's an album called Scalleluja that I picked up at a Goodwill, thinking it'd be a ska comp and not a Christian ska comp, then there must be a gent for Jesus.
That is a great... that's one of my favorite parts of ska music, is the puns.
Oh, dude. It's like they can't do anything unless it's some kind of pun or joke.
I love it, dude. I'm guessing 5 Hour and Frenzy was on there.
I don't know. I figured out it was a Christian ska album, and I just didn't listen to it.
That's a shame. 5 Hour and Frenzy is a great Christian ska band. I think OC Supertones are also Christian. But yeah, man, yeah, it's and again, like, it's no like offense to anyone, even though I'm sure it's gonna offend some people. But there is a slight like moment. I'm just like, oh man, like the guy I look up to a lot like believes in this fucking crazy shit that I don't believe in. I'm just like, damn, that changes my perception a little.
Yeah, but everybody's perspective of religion is different, right? So just because he says he's a devout Christian doesn't mean he's like Westboro Baptist Church or anything.
Those people are not Christian. Let's be real.
I mean, yeah, those people are just Christian.
Yeah, I think Christian. I like that. I think, I think it's definitely like, you know, in the Artist in the Ambulance, what that song is basically talking about is like someone that's almost died from a car wreck, and he kind of makes up his mind that he wants to live a better life and live a fuller life as a payback for a medic saving his life. Yeah. He's like, let me make your effort of like saving my life into making sure that I live my life the best way I can, and that I'm the best person I can be. And I think that's what Christianity, I think at the core, is really all about.
Yeah, well, it's that. And I believe he also feels that maybe he can be the person in the ambulance saving someone else with his music. Yeah,
he does. I think like, it seems like he's talking about the responsibility that he has as an artist. Like, he's no longer, he's more than just a musician or a guitarist or a singer. He's now an artist that can also save people's lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah.
I can support that. There's aspects of religion that I can support for sure. And it seems like he has a healthy handle on it, even though I've heard from a friend of mine that He's been doing live streams and has said some kind of weird shit in the last year on his live
Well,
streams. I don't know about that though.
there's a certain level of fame you get to where something's gonna happen. Like you're doing something nasty. But whatever. I've accepted that, and I feel like I listened to this album and I liked it. I read the lyrics and I liked them, and then I found out he was Christian, like a devout Christian. And I feel like if you don't like realize it while listening to the music, then it shouldn't really affect that much, unless you're listening to it and like, oh my God, this dude won't stop talking about this, like Flyleaf or I don't know, some other Christian band,
like Under Oath, like
yeah, where it's like, okay, all right, y'all can talk about other stuff though.
I think it's Under Oath.
Well.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because the themes and the stuff that they're talking about on this record are so much more universal than religion. But I'm pretty sure Under Oath is the band that, like, in one of their songs, the singer's going, Jesus. And I'm just like, oh,
and
boy.
I'm sure Jesus appreciates that.
Yeah, like, Gents for Jesus, man. I wish he still had that Hallelujah album. I would love to listen to it.
Dude, if not, we'll make it.
Dude, and before we get into the choice nugs, too, I had to look up the producer on this album because I'm just like, this guy must have done some other really good stuff.
I believe it. Go on, because I might be thinking of something else.
Well, the guy, his name is Brian McTiernan, and I want to say he was in a kind of a big deal hardcore punk band called Battery before he started doing production.
Yeah, and then he made Salad Days Studios.
And
is that right?
I'm not sure about that. Do you know like what other artists are on Salad Days?
Gosh, I believe Minor Threat was somehow involved with it. I could be completely wrong. Gosh, I'd have to do a whole...
Yeah, look into it.
Yeah.
We can come back to it. But yeah, this guy has produced like Circa Survive, Census Fail. What else do we have on here? He produced one of my favorite Hot Water Music songs called Trusty Chords. Turnstile, and Turnstile is like I think a New York hardcore band.
Yeah, I've heard about Turnstile recently.
I think I listened to one of their albums for my album of the day reviews last year, and I liked it a lot. But yeah, he's done a lot of like in the punk and hardcore scene, and it's all been quality shit. Converge.
Yeah, okay. It was named after a Minor Threat song.
Oh, okay.
It's called Salad Days. I thought for some reason they had a connection, but I don't think so.
So it's like a little homage.
Yeah, a little homage. But yeah, I think it's a pretty big deal studio.
I should look into it, man, because if this dude established it, then I'm probably gonna like a lot of the bands on it.
But yeah, I think we should get into our nugs, man.
Dude, so I have two top nugs and two extra nugs. And I'm only going to talk about my two tops, and I picked the other two nugs just in case one of them was one of your nugs.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and list mine, and then you list yours then.
Sweet.
Okay. So, my nar nugs are, for some reason, I don't plan on this, but they're right next to each other. It's Stare at the Sun and Paper Tigers.
Okay. And Stare at the Sun is probably my least favorite song on the record.
Dang.
But I still love it.
The thing with Stare at the Sun is that it was on the SSX3 soundtrack.
So you have a connection.
And SSX3 is one of my favorite games of all time.
What is SSX3?
It's gosh, I don't know what it stands for, but yeah, it's a snowboarding. It's the sequel to SSX Tricky, which I don't know if you've heard about.
SSX2?
No, they were too cool for that.
Oh, Tricky, excuse me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd never heard of it, and somehow I knew it was snowboarding. So maybe I have heard of it.
It's a great snowboarding game. It's one of my favorite games. I grew up with it, and I unintentionally listened to Stare at the Sun a lot of times because of it. And so it was weird because I was listening to this album, and I was like, wait, I know this song. Wait, I really know this song.
Dude, so that kind of like the Tony Hawk of snowboarding games?
Yeah, I'd say so. It was the most successful snowboarding franchise.
You know
by
what,
far.
dude? Video games in a certain era had fucking awesome music on it. Crazy Taxi is where I first really heard Offspring and Bad Religion.
Yeah, for sure.
They had the whole Gray Race record of Bad Religion on Crazy Taxi, and I was just like, I was a fan of Bad Religion before I even knew who they were.
Dude, NCAA 2006 has one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. One of the best like copyright soundtracks I've ever heard on a video game, and it's just like a random college football game that my brother got.
Ooh, they have Atomic
But it has
Garden.
like some of my favorite songs of all time on it.
Dude, yeah, and it's kind of all over the place too. They have some De La Soul. They got The Clash.
It's got friggin' the Mr. T Experience with More Than Toast. It's got Hyper Enough. It's got
No Effects. It's got Pixies, the Pie Tasters, another good ska band.
It's so good. I think it must be something with like it's harder for games to get copyrighted soundtracks, right?
Right.
It must have just gotten harder in the last decade or something, because you never hear about games like that anymore unless it's a Tony Hawk game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of games now are just like studios are just like full on studios, so like they compose their own music and they actually work with like composers and shit to like make songs for this. Oh yeah, there's I don't know if I'll hear Bad Religion on a fucking video game anytime soon.
No, I don't. No,
but
not anytime soon.
What the fuck are the Pie Tasters doing on this game? The Pie Tasters are like a no-name ska band.
Instead all night, I wanna ride each time Oh, such a good song.
Dude, yeah, the Pie Tasters were low-key one of my favorite ska bands.
Dude, if we could do a soundtrack, I think that would be mine. My friend actually had... my friend actually wanted to do the soundtrack for a video game that I've now forgotten. But
was it one of the Hawks?
No, it wasn't one of the Hawks. It was maybe it was Undertale or Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim has an amazing soundtrack.
Oh, dude, Anamanaguchi is killer.
The Pigeon Detectives, their cover of that Sade song is like incredible on that record. And all the stuff that Beck wrote.
We're talking about two different soundtracks.
Oh, I'm talking about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the movie.
I'm talking about the game.
Oh, there's a game.
But that goes to show you those guys knew how to get some music together.
God damn, dude. Did you ever watch the movie?
Oh yeah, I love the movie, man.
I love that movie, dude.
I read the graphic novels. I read the comics. I played through the video game.
Is the video game good?
Oh, dude, it's great. It's like River City Ransom, if you've ever played it.
No.
It's just kind of a side-scrolling beat-em-up pixel art with great music by Anamanaguchi, which is an 8-bit rock band.
Ooh, I love 8-bit shit, man. When it's well done.
Dude, listen to that soundtrack. The first song is a little rough because it starts off with like immediately like kind of a high-pitched thing.
Sure.
But listen to it. I'm sure you'll love it if you like 8-bit music.
Fuck yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. I've always thought that, you know, because I love the movie so much, I thought I should read the graphic novel, but then I really don't like the
you don't like the art style?
The art style. Man. It's so like kiddie and bubbly, and I feel like the movie is so like teen angst, you know, like hipster energy, that I don't see that in the comic.
Dude, the comic is hipstery to a fault.
Okay, so maybe I would dig it.
But I don't know, if you can get past it, give it a chance. But what are your nugs and 2 bonus nugs?
Okay, well, I want to get into yours. Like I want to like be able to, you know, kind of flesh them out a little bit. But mine are Silhouette.
Uh-huh.
and Paper Tigers were my top two.
Yes. I feel like we never share our nugs on an album.
Yeah, it's been rare lately.
But dude,
Paper Tigers is incredible.
We could start with Paper Tigers. That song goes so hard.
That fucking the drums in the beginning, like the crazy rolls he's doing, and that badass guitar riff that's doing it at the same time.
Oh, dude. And then the vocals come in. It's just such a headbang song, man.
It's so
like the syncopated hits.
Yes, yeah, like they dude, yeah. And this song doesn't let up either. It's so fucking good.
Oh yeah.
I love his scream, dude.
And this whole song is kind of a reference to an interview with Mao Zedong from 1946.
I never knew what Paper Tigers meant, so I was glad to see that annotation.
It's us, apparently.
Oh, it's 100% us.
So congrats to us.
Yeah, Paper Tigers are superficially fierce and unable to withstand external force. So we talk a big game, and we fucking, the slightest breeze will blow us over.
Well, that's kind of BS though, because we invest so much money into our military that I don't know how that's possible. But
yeah, I think it's a big thing. It's like we're not very effective. So
that's true.
Yeah. So I feel like, and we do get like, we're very touchy, so like where a tiger is just like fucking relentless and brutal, America's just like, you can't say that about us. Yeah. Cross our arms.
So touchy, man.
Dude,
it's incredible.
Light the world on fire just to watch it burn.
Oh man.
Doesn't Alfred say that about the Joker in The Dark Knight?
Some people just want to watch the world burn, I think is the quote.
I feel like they stole that from Thrice.
I think they did too, man. I think Batman stole a lot from Thrice, but that's a podcast for another time.
Yeah, let's be fair here. But yeah, dude, the bass line during the chorus is so good.
Oh, dude, and during the bridge.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of I think he's doing the same.
And the chorus and the bridge both like they kind of open it up a little bit, and they have like all this ethereal, soundscape synth shit going on in the background, and all those like really great background vocals. Yeah, dude.
And man, I was looking at the lyrics of this album, and I don't know if you ever get this feeling, but looking at lyrics like like the first track that comes on, Cold Hearts and Paper Tiger and all these songs, it's a little disheartening, isn't it, that people have been talking about this stuff since 2003 and not a single thing has changed about it?
If anything, it's like gotten worse in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. That's why I feel like a lot of these bands are still talking about the same shit, because it's like we haven't progressed really as a people, as a culture, as a society. Yeah, it's a bummer. It was like, I feel like the last few episodes we've done, I've been able to focus a lot more on like the music part of the albums and a lot less on like the interpretation of the lyrics. But I think Dustin's lyrics are just like, they lend really well to analysis, and I feel like he's so clear with what he's saying and the message that he's trying to get across that it's so of the times. Like, I really like Paper Tigers was one that was just like the end where he's saying we paid the price, we paid for their crimes with our blood.
Yeah.
And he's with our blood, and that badass fucking double bass, like, it's so fucking intense, and it's just like you can hear the fucking anger.
And when he goes, light the world on fire just to watch it burn, it'll be their funeral pyre, but they never seem to learn. It's like these guys are, I read that as these guys are killing us. The people in power are literally destroying our earth and killing us, and they're gonna go down with it.
Yeah, and they don't realize like how much they're hurting themselves in the long run.
Unless they already got a plan, a rocket ship to Mars or whatever, and that's why they're so callous. But
Paper Tigers reminded me a lot of dude, what was the fucking At All Costs song where it's like the government talking to the people and the people talking back?
oh goodness, with like the marching beat.
Yeah, this reminded me of that a lot. Like the theme felt very
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's like this is from the perspective of the people rather than the people that aren't in charge screaming back to the people who are in charge, and it's just like saying like they preach to the choir, like they're preaching to us, and it's just like we're just fucking kind of like just gobbling it up, you know?
Yeah. And there are a lot of themes that are shared on the last song, Don't Tell and We Won't Ask, which was like my third nug, if I could have chosen one, where it's like they're just telling us what they know we want, and they know they don't want us to think for ourselves. They want us to just believe whatever they're doing is the right thing to do.
Yeah, and that's where we were talking about the indoctrination on a previous episode too, where it's just like we've been told our whole lives that everything that the government does is right.
Yeah.
So to grow up and have that kind of that facade kind of breaks down a little bit in front of you, and you're just it's a really hard thing to fucking accept. And then you realize
it's a hard pill to swallow that some people still refuse to swallow.
Yeah, it's weird that more people now are embracing authoritarianism than ever in the US, and it's like very scary to see like how people are embracing authoritarianism just from the fact that the other half of the people don't want it. So it's like 50% of the country only wants what the other people don't want, just to be against, you know? Like that's what it feels like to me. So it's just like there's not a lot of thought being put into it. It's just whatever the Dems want, the Republicans don't. Whatever progressives want, the conservatives don't. And I feel like Republicans and conservatives are a lot more in the camp of we're just going to say no because you want it. You know, and we're not supposed to agree with you on anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's we've historically literally seen that happen in our own government, right?
Yeah.
And it's how are we supposed to get anything done?
Exactly, dude. It's like literally the only reason that any positive changes have been made with a new leadership is because that new leadership has the majority in every fucking aspect of our government right now. So it's if that majority wasn't there, nothing would be getting done, purely because of politics and just being against the other person just because I'm supposed to be against you. Like, are you really telling me that you're against protecting women from violence? Like, are you really telling me that you're against racist violence, and that you support supremacy of any race over another? Like, are you really telling me that's what you stand for? Or are you standing for that purely just to contradict and to be against what that little fucking, little pansy wants me to fucking believe in?
That's literally what's happened with the recent Dr. Seuss thing.
Yeah.
Right? Is that there are these books that are just like objectively bad books, like pro-Nazi, anti-Japanese, like anti-Asian books that Dr. Seuss wrote.
Anti-Semitic, people with like really big noses and shit.
Yeah. And like, because the publisher isn't publishing those anymore, suddenly everyone's up in arms saying that we've canceled Dr. Seuss, quote unquote.
And wasn't it the publisher's choice?
It was the publisher's choice. And Dr. Seuss, like, later he like kind of found the error of his ways and he apologized, which still doesn't really make up for all the crap he published.
But people should be allowed to change, right? And learn from their mistakes. I think that's the issue with cancel culture, is like, if you learned and you're a better person now, then we should accept that, instead of just holding your feet to the fire. That is, no, well, you said it, or no, well, you fucking produced this piece of work that, is horrible. And it's just like, people need to be able to learn from their mistakes, and we have to like accept them for that. I feel like there's cancel culture is definitely like, it can be toxic. But
no, for sure.
Yeah.
But like, nobody's canceled Dr.
Yeah,
Seuss.
no one's fucking,
But
no one pushed
just
for this.
because they've stop publishing some books and stop promoting some books, suddenly they think it's canceled. They're making a big deal out of this, and it's just an Ouroboros, you know. It's just an endless cycle.
For sure.
But let me get to a couple things on Stare at the Sun.
Which is a great song, despite I feel like it's like my least favorite on the album. I still love that song.
I think it's great. I love I wonder what effects they're using on the guitars on the intro.
Yeah, I love it. Is it like reverse? Maybe?
Yeah, it's like a very, very barely reversed thing, you know, just for the attack.
Yeah.
And then the bass comes in with that and
the simple
the
drums
lyrics
that are great.
I feel like these are my favorite lyrics on the album, just personally for me. I sit here clutching useless lists, keys for doors that don't exist. I crack my teeth on pearls.
Yeah.
It's like I feel that a lot.
Yeah, right. It's like materialistic. Like, is this really is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Just be
just like a general confusion on like what we're supposed to keep and what's important and what isn't, what's useless. And the chorus explodes into, it's an explosive epic chorus. I'll stare straight into the sun. I won't close my eyes till I understand or go blind.
And I thought that was like a religious thing too.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure for him it's partly religious, but for me, it's like I just want to find this truth. I just want to find what I'm supposed to do, and even if it hurts me,
right,
you know, I'm gonna try to seek it.
Yeah, it's like looking for meaning in life, which is like what a lot of religions are looking for, right? It's like, why are we here? Like, what's the point of all of it?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like looking for meaning beyond just that. It's just like, what is it like? What am I supposed to be doing with my life, and how can I contribute to a better life for not just myself, but like people around me? And I really love the lines where he says, I see the parts, but not the whole. I studied saints and scholars both, but no perfect plan unfurls. Mm-hmm. Like, do I trust my heart or just my mind? Why is truth so hard to find? It's really like, I feel the feeling of like being lost. Like I definitely connect with that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I think it's a part of our generation too. That's a new thing. It's like trying to find meaning, with what we're doing in every aspect of our lives, where for so long it was just like, you work, you provide, and you live your life. And, you know, if you have a house and your kids are eating, then you've done well, which is still valid. But I think something that our generation, and probably people that are younger that are coming up behind us, which you're in the younger generation. Like, I think it's looking for a lot more of just like, I don't want to just make sure that my life is good. I want to make sure that everyone's life is good. And that's something that our parents, I don't think, connect with very much.
Well, it's partly that, and also partly my parents grew up under a lot harsher conditions. I think all of our parents grew up under harsher conditions, and it molded them into these people that I'm going to do this job, and I might like it or I might not, but it's going to be a thing. It's just part of my life.
Yeah. Make sure that your kids go to college. Make sure that your kids are eating, you know? And when it comes to anyone else's, it's like, well, that's for them to fucking worry about.
But I don't know. That's why this song speaks to me a lot.
And this one's like probably the least heavy on the album too, right? I think this is one of the singles. Like, this is like one of the more accessible songs on the record.
I would say that maybe All That's Left, maybe Artist in the Ambulance.
Mm-hmm. I think All That's Left and Stare at the Sun were the two singles.
And speaking of All That's Left, like, I just got to say that like that harmony on the chorus, whereas try to plead his acres, but plead our hearts instead.
Yeah, instead.
It's just like so satisfying.
Yeah.
I love that part in particular. You said your other main nug was Silhouette.
Dude.
And I could see why. I can understand why you picked that.
Oh my God. Even just the first thing that you hear, just that snare, that
Yeah, that hard flam.
And then that like, and it's so catchy and it's so heavy, and the riff is fucking brutal and then but it also, it's like this one also allows itself to kind of open up a little bit, and it lets up a little before it gets into the chorus.
Yeah, where it gets real dirty,
dude. The chorus, like, your eyes slit the throat. It's like, just his, like, I can't get enough of his scream on this album, dude.
It's very choice, man. I like his screams are quality.
And you really feel like, there are some bands that it's just like, well, I scream, I'm the screamer, that's what I do. And like, you don't really feel the emotion behind it.
Yeah.
He legitimately fucking sounds pissed off when he's screaming, or sad or scared or whatever. Like, he conveys a lot of emotion in that scream.
Well, it's interesting on this song in particular because he's kind of talking about someone who's seeing through him, right? And who could see the true him. Right.
Yeah.
And
lyrics about like being vulnerable and like scared that someone can like see through your bullshit.
Yeah, so maybe the scream is kind of a scream of fear, honestly, because I don't think it's anger, because he talks about how it is kind of good for him that someone can see this about him, and I don't think it's frustration.
I think it is fear of just like, dude, you're like, I wish that you couldn't see through me, like where he says like, your eyes slit the throat of all I know about myself. It's just like, it's you can see through my bullshit, and that would kind of scare someone, right?
And maybe even stuff that I can't see myself.
Right. Yeah. And oh, dude, the bridge where he's just like, it just breaks down. Speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
Vigilant still and always your eyes. It's just like, just those choice moments of double bass, dude. Like the drummer killed it on this song.
Oh yeah.
I would say like, that riff is fucking dope. The guitar riff on this song is fucking killer, but the drums and the vocals are what make this song.
For sure. I mean, the importance of this dude's vocals can't be understated. It would be, I feel like it'd be a whole different sounding song if his lyrics weren't in here, if his voice wasn't on here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't imagine anyone else. Yeah, his vocals make every song better, for sure.
So what were those little 2 bonus nugs?
Well, the 2 bonus nugs for me were Blood Clots and Black Holes. I really love the riff on that song, and I love that it goes from like this mid-tempo kind of metalcore-y rhythm to
super metalcore.
Metalcore, right? And then it goes into almost like a hardcore punk thing like right after. And that intro, that and the killer fucking drums, and then it just like fucking like opens up. All that's great. It's and I think the lyric, like the theme in it, like a kind of, I think he's talking about like self-harm and kind of the being vulnerable as in a society or a culture that doesn't really value a man being vulnerable. Like to be at peace would be a sin and surely un-American. I think is such a cool line.
Yeah. And I thought that one was cool too.
The song is just so emotional. It's so good, and it's also like, you can say that about all these songs, that it's heavy and catchy at the same time. And there's a lot. I would say there's a lot more pop punk elements on Blood Clots and Black Holes than some of the other songs.
And it is. There are a lot of catchy songs on here, which is weird that they're not, I guess, more mainstream than they are. I wouldn't say they're not famous.
Yeah, I mean, with a million listeners, I think Slipknot has something like 2 million. So you think like someone who has so much mainstream clout like Slipknot does, like you would think Thrice would be a bigger name.
Especially since they're still kind of going today, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I think the last album they put out was in 2019, so they're probably due for another one.
Well, I wonder if they like kind of having a cult following, right?
I would tell you, man, in Austin, I never see people wearing a Thrice shirt. I never hear anyone talking about Thrice, but when they come through, their shows sell out. So they are beloved, at least in this town. And I don't know why, but it's something that like you don't, yeah, like you said, like you know the band, you know the name, but like who do you know that listens to them?
No one.
I have
nobody.
I have two really good friends that I know love Thrice, and outside of them, it's just like I don't hear anyone else talk about them. And my other semi-choice snug, I guess you can call it, is the Abolition of Man. The second to last track on the album. It's just another like really heavy. I love the fucking lead guitar work that the guy's doing on this, like just kind of like background, just 3 or 4 notes that he's just playing in the background during the chorus that are just like blend in so well. It has really good synth in it going throughout the whole thing. And Dustin's voice is just like haunting on the Abolition of Man. I love the punk energy on Abolition.
Yeah, it's in it. The way it, like when they do those hits into the harder section after the intro.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's just
that's
tasty.
a thing of beauty.
That dude, what is that? What is it called when the drummer is doing the snare hits, but he's almost doing like 2 really quick ones at the same time?
That's a flam.
A flam?
It's pretty silly name for something that goes so hard.
It kind of sounds like a flam. Like
maybe
flam,
you know,
flam,
yeah,
flam. It kind of I like it. It works, dude. That's one of like my favorite like little things that drummers will do, and I love that this song starts with the drummer doing it fucking perfectly for like for like 4 measures. He's doing it perfectly. Doesn't do it differently at all for 4 entire measures. But did you have any other like did you have any secondary nugs? Like, cause you love
the other songs.
You love Staring to the Sun and Paper Tigers, right? Those were your 2 biggest.
I was also privy is not the right word, but I also liked All That's Left and Don't Tell and We Won't Ask.
Yeah,
I really like the lyrics on Don't Tell.
It's cool, right? It's like it's all about like war and basically killing innocent people.
Yeah, and the chorus where like I still haven't completely wrapped my mind around it, but if it comes to murder, don't tell and we won't ask how you sleep at night.
Yeah.
You know, and that just seems like so like, I don't know, like dystopian. It seems so American government to me.
It really does. It really does feel like from the perspective of like a war veteran, that it's just like, hey man, we know that you killed people, but like if you don't bring it up, we're not going to ask. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and that's the one that he pulls out a Bible verse.
Where is that?
Let me see if I can find exactly where he does it. But yeah, don't tell him we won't ask is great. And, it's super catchy. The chorus is so catchy. Let's go out and you're all alone. Let me see. Where does he pull out the, oh, there it is. Remember, conscience comes before the fall. So it's a parallel to a Bible verse that says, "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall."
But in this case, it's a conscience. It's thinking for yourself, and trying to discern for yourself what's right and wrong. Comes before the fall in war. Mm-hmm. Right,
and maybe even the fall of like your own like fucking mental health. Where you fucking, you know, once you kind of get out of that environment where you're just scared for your life, so you're willing to kill so you don't get killed. And then you come back and you're like, oh my God, dude, I just, you know, you deal with like the most high stress situation that you could possibly think of where you're being hunted almost, or they fucking make you feel like it. And like, isn't that something they say in the military all the time? It's like, it's either you or them.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
I mean, and that's kind of how it is, right?
Yeah. It's really like, yeah, I think it's really scary, and just like how some people will volunteer to be involved in something like that, and then they come back fucked up, man. It's
Oh yeah, I mean,
hard to see that.
Yeah.
But on a more positive note, this album brings me back so much to Warped Tour 2004, I want to say.
Oh.
I'm going to look up the lineup for that.
Did you go to the said Warped Tour?
Oh, yeah. When they went to Houston.
Dang.
And when we first got there, it was outside in the middle of summer.
Sure.
That was fucking rough. But Thrice was there, and they opened up with Silhouette. And it was like we had just gotten into the place, and we're all meeting up and be like, all right, who's gonna go where? Who wants to go see what band? And blah blah. And then we just hear and me and my friend Aaron just looked at each other and we're like, ah, fuck, and just started running to the stage.
Oh shit, it's Thrice.
Oh, dude, it was such a great way to start the day. And like, but dude, Anti-Flag was there, Bouncing Souls, No Effects, Newfound Glory. I mean, and these are just bands that like I was excited to see. Fucking Alkaline Trio, Bad Religion.
Yeah, let me get on this. Let me see what bands are Warped Tour 2004.
Yeah, Flogging Molly.
Ooh.
And then there's bands like I didn't really care much about, but like Thursday, Yellow Card, My Chemical Romance was there. Avenged Sevenfold was there.
Oh man, you have no idea.
I
freaking
lost my
My
shit.
Chemical Romance, The Used, Simple Plan, little Simple Plan, bro.
Dude,
All American Rejects,
Motion
bro.
City Soundtrack. I used to love them.
Coheed and Cambria, Good Charlotte.
Yep.
The Vandals.
Yeah, the Vandals, dude. Yeah, that was crazy. I want to say even Rancid was there, but that might have been a different. Yeah, that might have been a different one.
I don't know if you said Avenged Sevenfold already.
Yeah, I was psyched for that. The Matches were there. I was fucking psyched for the Matches. The Matches would be a good album to talk about.
What is that?
They are pop punk, but like I would
Under
say
Oath is there, baby.
Yeah, Under Oath. Yep. I would say the Matches are like a precursor to Panic at the Disco.
Really?
But they're not as theatrical, but they teeter on that line a little bit, and I really, really like them. They're really a really unique pop punk band. Unfortunately, they're not together anymore.
Right. Ugh. Man,
Yeah, did you ever go to Warped Tour, man?
No, because all the latest Warped Tours that I would have gone to
sucked.
Was like it was nothing I wanted to see.
It was a lot of like bands like Bring Me the Horizon and Between the Buried and Me and shit, like a bunch of stuff that like I would and more hip hop. Like stuff that I wouldn't expect to hear at Warped Tour.
I feel like the hip hop would be the stuff I'd rather see.
Right.
Because I don't know about these other guys. Like I don't know about Asking Alexandria or I don't know, Sleeping with Sirens or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not into that stuff. And that seemed like it took over, dude.
Yeah, Taking Back Sunday. Apparently Thrice played 2019.
I believe
That's
it.
Insane.
I believe it. Man, my first Warped Tour was 2002. And it was just one of the best experiences, dude. AFI. I remember Good Charlotte played either right before...
The anthem.
I used to love Good Charlotte, first of all. But they played either right before or right after No Effects. And Fat Mike was talking so much shit.
Oh gosh,
he is such an asshole, but like an asshole that I hate to love,
Yeah, I get it. I got a beef with No Effects. Not really. I just hate that they don't stop talking when they play.
Yeah, that's the thing. Fat Mike can't keep his fucking mouth shut, dude. But I heard his autobiography or his memoir or whatever. I heard it's incredible.
Yeah, I read the No Effects autobiography, the the shit stained bathtub or whatever.
I think that's the one I'm talking about because my friend was listening to the audiobook and he says that every chapter is written by a different member of the band, and so they read their chapter on the audiobook. So yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
It's the hepatitis bathtub and other stories.
Is that where he talks about like drinking pee?
Yeah.
He drinks like a cup of piss or something.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't?
And it also like I had no idea the like, I mean, they're dealing with all kinds of drugs and like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad, right? But
Yeah, but now Fat Mike is like, I don't think crossdresser is the right term.
no, I think that's it might be a little derogatory.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
what
if they've like
yeah.
made a better name for it, but yeah, he likes to wear women's clothing, and I think he just got out of like a clinic, like a
Like rehab?
something that
Rehab or
yeah, I think he just got out, and I think NoFX just released a new album after he got out.
I've heard that some of their latest stuff has actually been pretty good. I haven't listened to them since they did the War on Errorism. I think they kind of lost me around that time.
Well, I am not one to keep up with NoFX. I think you did put Punk and Drublick
I had
on
to.
your list, and that's my favorite album.
Yes, dude. Well, we should definitely talk about that. I love Punk and Drublick, and my other favorite album, it might be above Punk and Drublick, but it'd be hard to kind of. It's weird. It's that 45 or 46 other songs record. It's the second one.
The like the short songs for short people or whatever. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's like a bunch of B-sides, right? But there's two records on it. So one is like minute and a half long, like really shitty recorded punk songs, and the second half are just like ones that I feel like were better than a lot of the shit that they actually put out on the records. That's my favorite, like Pods and Gods, and Timmy the Turtle, and a few other songs on that one. But I thought it would be weird because it's not. I think one's like called Catching Z's and the other one's something else. And I almost suggested that one, but I'm like, it's weird because we'd have to call it the 45 or 46 other songs, but then we're only going to be talking about one of the two albums. So I thought it wasn't worth really bringing up. But I love that record. Punk and Drublick is how I got into them. So that's just like going to be a classic for me always.
I mean, same way. Dude, do you remember the Punk and Drublick tour they were doing a couple years ago?
No. Was there like a 20-year anniversary or something?
Yeah, it was something like that. They were coming to Austin, and I had tickets. I had tickets from me and my friends. And they canceled because they never actually got clearance to like play at the venue.
What? They just put out these dates?
They just put out some dates, and it sucks because my dad, it was at the like in the backyard of the Chronicle or something.
Okay.
And that was literally where my dad worked. So he was able to like snatch some free tickets, and they just didn't have the permit or something. So we never got to see it.
That would have been so cool to see the Brews live.
We're the Brews.
Sporting anti-swastika tattoos. Oi, oi. That's a great fucking record, man.
Oh, man.
And this was a great record. I'm so glad you liked it, dude. And I'm super curious where you're going to rate it.
Well, I don't think it'll be out of the realm of what you would think. I think I'm going to rate it a 7.4.
Fuck yeah, that's better than I thought you were going to do.
Because it was originally going to be a 7, but as we were kind of talking through, as I was listening again, I was like, I don't know, like whenever we go through these episodes, man, for some reason it just like it adds a couple.
I sell
points.
you, dude. I sell you on it.
You're selling me.
I'm a fucking dirty used car salesman. Like, what can I do to get you into this album today?
What can I do to get you into a 7.5?
Yeah, 7.5, dude. That's solid. That's a solid score.
And what would you give it, pray tell?
I think it's going to be a 9 point something at this point. Again, it's one of my favorite albums ever. It's the album that got me into Thrice. It's the album that probably opened the doors to metalcore for me, because it was after I heard this that I started hearing Kill Switch and All That Remains and bands like those. So they kind of like opened that door for me a little bit. And so I would have to give this only because Stare at the Sun and honestly all that's left are like the two weaker songs for me on the record. So like the fact that I consider a couple songs to be kind of weak, I'd have to give it like a 9.2.
All right. Well, I don't think they're gonna get too mad at you for that.
And I think also, like, caveat, I don't skip those songs. I still like them, but they're just like if I could do without, it would be a couple of songs. And most of the records that like I've given 9 point somethings, it's like I love every fucking song. Like it's hard to pick a choice nug. This one, it's just I was able to pick out a couple that kind of were flyover songs for me. But yeah, man, 9.2. I love this record, and I'm happy that you dug it too. I was a little worried.
I mean, I'm glad I liked it, man, because honestly, I feel like I have such a picky brain. I have such a picky taste when it comes to music.
Same, dude. Me too.
I don't know what it is.
I think we expect quality.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just always expect something to like blow my mind or something.
Something has to be new, right? When you hear it.
Yeah, but like most of the stuff I listen to is about as fake as a $3 bill, you know?
Oh, baby. Well, that is a great transition to the next album that we're going to be talking about with, I hope, a guest.
He's a specter of the night.
He's been elusive.
You might recognize him as he plays Tony the Tiger in our friend group.
Yes, he might be a little frosted flake, but he is a very good friend of ours. Our friend Luis Roa plays bass in Mortalis. Great guy, and he shares my love for $3 Bill Y'all by Limp Bizkit. I still will jam that record unironically, but I'll probably do it tonight now that you brought it up.
The day I found out that every member of Mortales loves that album, it just blew like what?
And you
like,
never
why?
really listened to it, right? Like you probably heard the singles.
I mean, by now I've listened to it because I knew we were kind of doing this in advance, but I'd only heard like the singles from Limp Bizkit and maybe a couple deep cuts, but that was about it. I had no idea this album.
The passion we had for it.
Oh God.
I love that record. So we're gonna be talking about $3 Bill Y'all, and I'm so excited.
Be sure to tune in. We also have another guest, who we will keep a secret until the next episode.
Yes.
Just so people can know. I don't know. Is it Michael Jordan? Is it Dave Grohl? Mm-hmm. It's someone like that. I think it's about the same.
I think Geddy Lee, you're getting warmer.
Geddy Lee.
You're getting warmer already.
Be sure to, if you want your voice to be heard on the podcast, comment on. You can comment on any platform, iTunes, Podbean. We have a YouTube. Mm-hmm. If you want your voice heard, if you want to spread the word, we are EBPcast
on Instagram.
On Instagram, you can also contact our personal Instagrams with Jean-Luc Guitard and Brett Hanrahan if you don't want to figure out how on earth you spell that username.
And Jean-Luc Guitard is not easier. But yeah, fucking follow us on Instagram. Tell your friends about it. Let us know what you thought of this episode. And yeah, man, we want to get y'all more involved. We want to hear y'all's roasts of us if you have anything to fucking say.
Or if you just think it's a funny bit that every episode we beg you to comment and every episode we never get a comment, that's fun too.
Yeah, it's not fun for me, but it's fun for you.
I think it's funny.
I'm going to rate this episode a 9.2.
Dude, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Buddy, this was good.
Lucas, this was good.
And a 3, and a 2, and a 1.